Welcome one and all to this 50th episode of the third series of D&D with me, Mike.
And me, Zoe.
And today we're working on our adventure game again, and we need to finish the way our drowning system works. So let's review what we've got. If we jump in the water, we get our little water symbol appearing. It starts going down and down and down. We can climb up the ladder, it stops, and then it replenishes. That's our oxygen meter, and then it goes away. So everything is working pretty well. Now, the one problem that we've got is that when we wait in the water for too long and we effectively drown, we lose one heart, but we remain there and we can keep on swimming. So that's a problem. What we want to do is we want to return to wherever it is that we've left the platform from. To do that, what we're going to do is when we jump, we're going to record our previous position and store it. And we're going to store the position and the quadrant into the player. And then we're going to reutilize it when we need to respawn there specifically. So this may be a little bit complicated. It will depend on our current situation and our current situation in terms of code, meaning how do we teleport to places, because I absolutely cannot remember. But this will occur here. And the saving of the information will occur
Here.
here.
You opened something.
Did I?
An ad.
Wow. Save. Okay, so step number one, we're gonna need information about that. Now, do we have any vector 2s? We do. We have a current quadrant, okay, and we have a well, we don't have a position, but we're gonna find it. So let's create a private vector to int pre-jump quadrant. Semicolon. That's easy enough. Now what we're going to need to do is we also need a
Pre-jump tile.
private vector to int pre-jump coord. Pre-jump coord semicolon. Alright, so that's fairly easy. Copy this. Paste it here. Equals current quadrant. There it is. Yeah, semicolon. So that's the first step on jumping. But I don't like this. I think I want a special method just for this.
Okay.
So we're going to create... It's a bit inconsistent, but anyway. Void set pre-jump info. Open close round, open a squiggle, close. Copy. Paste. Open close round, semicolon. Cut. Paste. And save. Now, I'm almost sure the map has a way for us to get information from a certain vector. So we're gonna say pre-jump, so start typing pre-jump coord, I think it's called. That's the one, equals. And now let's try to go to map.script and then .get. .script.get. And now let's see what options we've got. Tile from position. That sounds like it's exactly what we want. Except it's returning a world tile. So that's the type of tile. Let's go here. Take a look. So it needs a vector to position, and here it gets the position itself. So my recommendation is let's create a method in here that returns just this information, because that's what we want. And then we call this method in here as well. So here you can do a public vector to int. Call it get coord from position. position. Yeah, open, close, open a squiggle, and twice close. Now we're gonna need a pause, so copy this here.
Do we want?
Cut this.
Do we need a vector to int for
Just
the
cut
pause to?
this, paste it here, and type return here in front. Space, save. Okay, what do you not like?
It's a type.
New.
It says.
No, return. That's what we want. And here you can say int pause equals, copy this, paste it here, open a round, pause, close the round. Close the round, semicolon. And that'll work immediately and automatically. Now we can copy this, go back to the player, paste it here, open round, transform dot position. Close round, semicolon. Yes. Now, I'm thinking whether the Z would be important. I don't think it ever will be, but we may have problems later. So that's something worth keeping in mind. Anyway, so we got the correct coordinate, or at least we should have it. But I'm a bit worried because when you jump off, right, your transform will actually probably be inside the other coordinate already. Meaning it will be in the coordinate that's falling into the sea. That's what will happen. And the reason why it will happen is because you register the jump when you lose connection to the ground. So your position will actually be in the wrong quadrant.
It'll respawn you in the water.
That's right. We need the quadrant before.
Can we do?
What I would do is something fairly cheap. I would take the direction we're going, which we know, and I would reverse it and normalize it, and then go in the opposite direction by 0.5 with our position. Because I think half of the tile is 0.5. Let's check the map. The map should have the tile size, and it does. Yeah, it's 0.5. And it's public too, so we can utilize that.
Okay.
So this is almost correct, but it's missing something. So it's gonna be like this, plus RB dot velocity dot normalized times open round bracket negative minus map dot script dot tile size dot x times 0.5 close f close bracket. Save. Do you understand what that says?
No.
Well, read it. That should be fairly easy.
Transfer dot position, so where we are at the moment.
Yep.
Plus RB dot velocity, so the rigid body and
Velocity. What's the velocity? It's the direction you're going and how strong you're going. It's a vector, right? That's where you're going. Now I'll multiply it by a negative. So what does that mean?
It'll become a negative.
It's gonna be reversed. So if you're going that way, it'll be the opposite. Okay. But you're also taking its normal, its version normalized. This means that it's going to have a magnitude of what?
I think 1.
1, correct. So that means you only get the direction and not the magnitude. The magnitude is lost. Okay, which is good because we only care about the direction. We are not if we're going forward by, say, the length of my arm, we may want to go backwards in the same direction, but only by the length of half of my arm or something like that, whatever it happens to be.
That would be what the magnitude
That's what our
is
multiplier is for. Now, the reason why I'm multiplying the tile size by 0.5, why am I multiplying the tile size? Well, x could have taken y, it doesn't matter. By 0.5 side, 0.5. Why?
So that you have a bigger range of it getting triggered?
Nope. I'm taking half of the range. If I took the entire range, I would go to possibly, actually I wouldn't, but I'm taking a middle point. basically. You don't understand.
No.
Well, if you take any number, you divide it by 2, what do you get?
You get the half of that number.
Right. So if I multiply something by half, I get the half of that number. It's the same thing. So if your tile is 1 by 1,
then you get
you take half of 1,
0.5.
right? It's not exactly all the way in the middle, especially if you're diagonal, but it's going to be close enough. It should approximate to the correct tile.
Okay.
If I've got the math wrong, we'll worry about it later. But this is what this is for. So we got the pre-jump quadrant and we got the pre-jump chord. So we've got everything we need here. So that's step number 1. Now step number 2 is teleporting. Now I can't remember how you do that. And we may also want to start an animation, stop allowing the player to move. We'll see. I think in fact we should probably like make an animation where he drowns, sort of goes down in the water.
Yeah.
You know, just boop, boop. And then we turn off the ability to move or do anything at that point. In fact, let's check real quick under update. We got interacting, so we could turn interacting on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we call that animation. Then the animation helper can tell us when it's done, and it can send us there. I don't think I would use the animation helper for that, though. Frankly, I think I would simply use a coroutine.
Okay.
So a simple coroutine waits a certain amount of time. We decide how much it waits, and then book, it takes us back. But we'll worry about that coroutine right after. For now, we're just going to worry about teleporting.
Okay.
So it's going to look a bit immediate. But let's see. Throw, receive, set money. None of these. How do you spawn the player? Oh, hello. Teleport player. Quadrant, position. Well, that's fairly easy. Mm-hmm. All we need to do is give it that information. So let's call teleport player. Open right. So this one, what will you feed it?
So we need the quadrant you're in.
What's
so
it called?
we made current quadrant.
No.
But
You've just calculated the other banana. Pre-jump quadrant. And then
the position would be pre-jump chord.
Yes, but not quite. You are correct, but not quite. We're going to have to build a vector on the fly. So new vector 3, because you need to give it a Z. Open, and you say pre-chord position, or whatever you call it, pre-chord, pre-jump chord. That's the one, .x, and it needs to be cast as a float, because this is an int. It will auto do it, but I'm never a fan of that. Copy all of this, put a comma here, paste it, replace x with y, comma, and now the z. Now the z is a bit of a question, because I don't know how high the floor is going to be. So I think we need a rule for that. Okay. And the rule should not be here. It should probably be in the map. Something like default map height. Right? So let's do a public float. Float. Default map height. Default map terrain height. Terrain height equals, and go with 1.5f for now. Semicolon. This may be a bit much, but whatever. So here we're gonna say 1, 2. So map.script.map default whatever. There it is. Close the round. Enter. Close the round, semicolon. Shift tab.
We missed an enter right here.
Save. Not really, we have deliberately made it different, but we could do this as well. So separate all these 3. Save. You need to pay attention at the brackets. This one is only dealing with the vector. This one is the one dealing with the teleport player. So anyway, this one should work. Let's immediately go see if this functions. And we're gonna try first with a simple test, meaning, oh, actually, this is going to be a bit more complicated than we like, because you can't teleport. I need to actually walk there. I need to actually walk there. Oi. So I've jumped at about that quadrant over there. Excuse me, that chord, right? Let's see.
Huh? Where do you respawn? Oh.
Down here. So that went badly wrong.
It looked like it went the opposite of there.
Yes, and I think I know why. Because I think teleport player actually finds the transform position based on... Oh, never mind. Oh, so first of all, this is not going to work at all. This is actually insufficient for the information. Because the current quadrant could be different. So this doesn't function at all. This isn't what we're looking for. So that's an issue. Let's find out who calls this. Control F. Yeah, it's called externally. That's what I expected. Player. So change quadrant and with the current position. So none of this is going to work. We need a teleport to quadrant of sorts. Either that or we need a new piece of information here. Because you see how we have debug?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we would need something else that's somewhat like that. So from drowning, for example. And it's also not ideal because it will force the change of the quadrant. Bleh. See, it sets up the map as 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need a new one. So create a new method, call it public void drown player. It's gonna need an open bracket. No, wait. Well, sure, that's fine. Now in there you wanna put, wait, you can copy these two. Paste them here. Save. Now, here we're gonna check. No, change this one to pre-jump. So we don't get confused. Save. Is the player's current thingy public? It is. That's good. That's what we need. So pre-jump coordinate and this one pre-jump position.
We had pre-jump chord.
Yeah, but that's fine. Save. Because it's a vector 3. It's not vector 2 int. So what we're going to do now is the first thing is we're going to test if the pre-jump quadrant and the current quadrant are different. That's the first question. So here you go. If pre-jump quadrant
position
is different from he'll fix the spaces after. He fixes itself. If pre-jump quadrant is different from player.current quadrant. Yeah, close round, open squiggle. Yeah, save. And before this, we're gonna say player.teleport player. No, we can't actually. Isn't that a bit of a pain? Put an else here. There's gonna be a little teensy-weensy bit of code repetition, but nothing serious. So copy this and copy these two things over here. Paste them here. And paste them here as well. And let's remove this guy, because we don't need to set up the map. Save. Right, so pre-jump quadrant player, teleport player, copy pre-jump quadrant, place it here, and here, and here. And copy pre-jump position and paste it here, and here, and save. Copy drown player. Game manager. Dot script. Paste. Open round. Enter, close round. Close round, semicolon.
So this is gonna be long.
Cut these. Put them in here. Shift tab. Remove this. Save. Okay, so this should already work, but at the moment is going to perform exactly the same as before. So we need to figure out what we got wrong. And the way we're going to do it, at least the first step, is in set pre-jump info. I want you to debug.log, open round, and copy this, paste it, comma, plus, not comma, plus, quote, space, minus, 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 space, close quote, we forgot a space, plus, and copy this, paste it here, close the round, semicolon. Alright, so that's the first debug. Now let's copy all of this, paste it here. This is kind of useless, but that's okay. Copy this, paste it here. It's gonna look a bit ugly, I'm not interested. Save. Even if the code looks ugly, we're gonna delete it later, right? So this is just debug. I want to see what information we get when we jump and when we drown.
Hey.
So there's an interesting situation. We don't have a restart for that. Right? So at the start of the game, we need to remember to reset that material. Because the materials are assets. So here I'm jumping. Okay. So we got our first piece of information right here, which is
that's where we jumped off.
214.31.0. So the player should presently be at 31 something, whatever, right? So that's all right. 31.0, I like it. Now we'll eventually die. Okay, so the quadrant is correct. 31.0. Aha, I know what it is. We are stupid. So we have forgotten that Z and Y
are inverted?
Yeah, because it's a 3D game and the Y is up. So we're using Y. We need to use the Y as a Z. That's the problem. So when we set the pre-jump chords, that's fine. But this, we got everything wrong. So here you want to cut this and put it here, comma.
You're doing this in the debug.
It's fine. We'll do it in both. And cut this and paste it here. Save. So the height is correctly placed here, and then the Y goes here. Right? Now, assuming that getting the position is going to be correct, I'm actually not certain. Because the set pre-jump info gave us 31.0. But I can't believe the Z was a 0. That seems very improbable. So let's see what the situation is again. Again, I'm just walking my way over there. I don't particularly care how many times I get hit or anything like that. So 31 and 0. Where's the player's position? 28. 31, 0. I'm weirded out by this a little bit. It must be that one of the methods is doing something different than we expect. So we're talking about the dirt 31. .3. Yeah, let's zoom on it. There it is. So that's 31.3, which looks like it's in the correct position vertically speaking, right? So it's horizontally rather. All correct. Okay, so 31.29 would be the one we left. So why in the world we got 31.0?
We don't have a 31.0.
We may further down, or wherever it is.
It could have been the ladder that we jumped off.
0. There it is. It's a wall. That's why we're spawning there. So somehow we're getting 31.0. Which is a little bit strange. 31 zeros. The problem is in set pre-jump info. Right here. Get coord from position is my bet is the issue. Floor to int position X. Floor to int position Y. That's your issue. So we need, this guy has the same problem but backwards. The problem of we're sending it a vector 2. That's because we're sending it the X and the Z, or we should be, but we aren't. We're sending it our vector 3. So this is a bit of an issue. So here's what we're gonna do. Create a vector 3. Call it pos, POS, equals. Copy all of this. Paste it right here, semicolon. Save. Now you can say new vector 2, open round, pos.x, comma, pos.z, close the round, save. And since we have plenty of room, we can do this. Save. Now we should get 3129, I believe, is what we're trying to obtain.
Okay.
See how my drowning meter is still sort of a bit used up? That's simply because the material is still being displayed. Okay, so yeah, 3129. So we got good hope to expect we're going to spawn where we want to.
Let's see. Yep.
That's pretty good.
Again.
I want to test it, right? So
Yeah.
I want to test, by the way, when we spawn, where we're at. Okay, so there we go. I want to see where the player is. So the player is substantially above the area. Now we could live with this particular situation. I think this is probably a good idea. But otherwise, the height here is probably 0. So 0 should be where the floor is, right? So we could do 0.5 or something. Right? 0.5 would probably be all right. So let's begin by changing that in the map. So instead of 1.5, we're gonna go 0.5. So that's the first step. Now the second thing is now testing if it's going to work in other places, right? And between quadrants, because that's the big deal. That's where the serious problems can exist, right? Because you then need to deal with completely different quadrant teleportation. So let's see if we can do that.
I wonder if you can right past all the bombs in this area.
If you can do what?
If you can go right past all the bombs in this area.
I just did.
I meant if you can get through without them noticing you.
Yes, I've tried it. It's very hard though. Just for good measure. Okay, so I'm here. Let's jump down. So this would be this square over here.
Yeah.
Right, let's see if that works. That's the first question. See, we got it slightly wrong. I kind of expected it.
You said something about testing quadrants too.
Yes, we're gonna do that first, I suppose, since we're here, because it's a bit of a pain to get here, right? But the problem that we're clearly seeing is that we missed that jump by a bit. So we actually fell into the water again, and that's kind of stupid. So
This one's very fast.
it's a fast swimmer. Okay, I went to the other quadrant. Now let's see what happens. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Okay?
Okay.
So, we've got a problem with the detection of the block where we're at. The last one we got was 6. Yeah, 10, 6. That's what it was. Well, maybe it was before actually. 6, 10. That's suspiciously similar, but I think it's just the other one. So 6, 10. Let's see if we can find 6, 10. See, that's why I like to use this type of stuff. It makes it really, really easy to find.
So 610 is a C.
There it is. C. C610. This one. So yeah, this was the previous one. And that's what the issue is, right? We found that one as opposed to finding that one.
Mm.
And that's not great. That's strange. So something must be suboptimal with our direction. And I have an idea. Instead of us using the velocity, we can use our input. The thing is, there's a risk that when you jump, you lose your input, meaning you deliberately put 0 or that sort of stuff. So let's see here. When you jump, aha! That's the interesting bit. That's the interesting bit. So we've got the velocity over here that gets then altered. We need to set the pre-jump info here. So just cut this, put it here, and save. So let's begin with this. This is probably gonna help.
See if it works.
It's still risky. I think we need to have a safety measure. And that safety measure would be finding the closest possible tile that is not a wall or a... Wow, what a shot. Oh no! No, no.
All 4. Ow.
That's bum. Got hit in the bum. The bum bum. I got hit in the bum bum. Don't see me, don't see me. Good work.
He says he's speaking, pulling up things for too long.
What?
He says his picking up sound is too long.
Who says?
The guy, Ted.
Okay, so we still have exactly the same problem here. What about here? Same issue. So the problem is this, the alteration. This thing is the problem. It's not getting us to the point we need to be. Somehow.
Okay.
I've got a simple idea. I want you to write this. Void on draw gizmos. There it is. On draw gizmos. And hit shift tab here. And you want to say gizmos dot draw. Let's do wire sphere. Open round. Pre-jump position. Yeah, no, actually, see, that's not brilliant. Let's create another private right here. Call this one vector 3 pre-jump pause. Pre-jump pause. Semicolon. Copy it.
We had it at the bottom.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's not what I'm looking for. Paste it here. 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 Save. Paste it here, comma. 1F close semicolon. Now here do another thing and do gizmos.color gizmos.color equals color.red semicolon. Save. Okay, so now you'll see a random red ball appear in the middle of the screen and stay there for a bit.
Okay.
And that's okay. Oh, I don't actually see it. It may be in the bottom left corner. Yeah, there it is.
There's the little swing.
The reason why it's there is because we haven't hit the start button. Now
it's there.
there. And that looks like it's the correct place.
It's not where you want that to go.
Nope.
Well, they cleared the road, so.
Okay, so this is very interesting because it does look like it's exactly where I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But when we drown, we end up in the wrong place. Oh, I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I think what's happening is we jump when we respawn. So that's why this thing moves. It shouldn't move. Okay? So I'm going to jump so it's in the right place. Now let's monitor this screen over here.
Yes, it's right when we're
But let's check where we are.
we're invisible at the moment.
Yeah. But it's still it's definitely still the same problem. Like the reason why it's jumping is because I think the teleporting already puts you grounded pretty much, but it's teleporting us in the wrong place. Pre-jump quadrant. I have a bit of a suspicion. I think I know why this is happening. Actually, I'm not sure. I want to check something more. Clear it again. 6 and 8. C. That's the issue. Whoa, it's wrong by a substantial amount. That's very surprising to me. It means all of our calculations are off. Something's off here. And where it's off, it's in the pre-jump calculation again.
So maybe with this?
No, the pre-jump chord is fine. Yeah, pre-jump chord. Actually, I don't know if the pre-jump chord is wrong, but pre-jump pause is correct. Because that's where the red ball appears. And as you can see, the red ball is right on target.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what's not on target is the pre-jump chord. So get chord from position has to be borked. Vector to clamp. Floor to int. Pause x. 0. Aha! I can see where. We must be adding... yeah, no, I understand. This is just the tile. Do I understand? I don't know that I do understand, frankly. No, I don't understand. Hit Control F, forget tile from position. Because this was saying see position plus tile plus ayu, hello. Now I understand. Cut this. Paste it
Take
here.
this here.
Save. This is interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think this will fix everything. That explains exactly what's happening here. Which means though that our ball should look a bit off. It should look like it's further north and further east than it should be. Again, perfect opportunity for us to try it here. So let's go take a look at the ball. Let's close this, minimize this, go to where the player is. Okay, here's the player.
There's the ball.
No, the ball looks like it's exactly fine. It's kind of in a weird position, but I did expect it to be slightly weird. That makes sense.
But he'll spawn right in the middle, so he'll still spawn on that.
Well, we'll see.
Well, ideally.
I'm actually not sure.
Hey.
So it has worked here. I don't trust it though. Let's grab a heart just to be all proper. Cash.
Ooh, $1.
Ooh, $1.
More money. And a heart. Oh, you already got one. Right there. Oh, they were all angry.
So the ball is in the right place.
There's your guy. Yes.
Okay.
Now quadrant testing.
That's right, but I want full oxygen. There is a small problem, I think. But I may be wrong. So we're in a different quadrant. We respawn back.
Right where
Jump into the water right away. Yeah, see? So we already had a bit less. We can test that right here. So if I jump in the water, you see how it's diminishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything's fine. Okay. Whoa! That was a weird cut. Okay, so here we go. Interesting. The position of that ball is weird. But let's see. Okay, it's correct. Now I'll jump in the water right away. See how little oxygen I have?
Yeah, because it didn't respawn completely.
That's right. When you respawn, it actually doesn't reset that oxygen, which is a bit of a potato. We should reset it right away. So we're almost done here. It's almost perfect. And I think we're probably also going to conclude it here today. We can delete these debugs. And delete this debug. Okay, so that's all bueno. Now here we do this, we drown the player, and when we drown the player, we need to force the oxygen to go back to 1, like that. Okay, so oxygen material routine, we're not too interested, and oxygen management routine, we are very interested. So oxygen percent, there it is. We are going to go to 1 right away. So we're going to call the oxygen management routine. So copy oxygen management. And in drown, paste it here. Open, close round, semicolon. Now one thing I want to check. Yeah, we got drown player. Are we using this? I think so. Yeah, we're using this. That's fine. So player, we got this. Now the last thing that we need to do is that when we spawn for the first time, we need to manage that material. And I think what's happening is that this thing says bool on, off, or whatever, but it doesn't say instantaneous or anything like that. So
We had a bool insta.
yeah, add a bool insta. So yeah, and here you check if not insta. Close round, open a squiggle, wait. Close it here. I put a full stop because I'm a banana. else open another squiggle. That's good. So if we're not instantaneous, then we're going to do this. If we are instantaneous, though, we're going to make certain decisions. And here is our decision. Copy it all. Paste it right here. And here you're simply going to use a tertiary operator and ask on off. So on off. Question. So if it's on off, what do we want to put?
If it is on off, then we want
Yes, if it's on
we
off.
want it to be visible.
Yes, 1F.
And if
otherwise,
it's not on off, then 0F.
Yes. Now we have plenty of room here, so let's delete this. Then
And
delete
this.
this. Press a space. And then delete this. Save. Okay, so we're simply going to use the instantaneous stuff. Now you see we got some errors. These are going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
Because that way we can go. So here it's false. False. Copy this false. Paste it here.
One more.
And here. Save. Control MO.
Oh, control it.
Now, as soon as we spawn, wherever we spawn, who spawns us? Is it setup player? That would be my bet. Yeah, no. Setup map, teleport player. I think it's only in setup player that we need to worry about this, to be frank. So here goes start oxygen material. That's the one. Open round. False, comma, true. We're going instantaneously false. Close round. Semicolon. Now, in order to test this, we need to make absolutely sure that our material is in fact wrong at the start. So maybe the player has whatever, I'm lazy. So the player world PFX HUD oxygen icon, that's the one. So oxygen icon, we wanted to have controller here in the middle and visibility full, so we can see it. Okay. Now, if when we start this goes to 0 instantly, it's working exactly as intended. Let's see. And it did. Do you see the icon? I don't.
No.
Okay, so let's again put it back to 1. See how it's visible right now? I know that's wrong. That's okay. That's because we're messing with it, right? So I'm gonna stop the code, play it right away. We should never see the icon, and we don't. All right, so now final test of tests of tests. Let's find out if everything is working as intended. Let's see if I can pass through these without ever being noticed. Mucho bueno.
What
Muy
does
bien.
that mean?
Muy bien, that's how I say it. It's Spanish, it's wrong Spanish for very good, but it's wrong.
You like to do very good in other languages wrong.
I like to do wrong things. Okay, so that's happened. Now one more thing we need to test. Remember, we need to test if when we respawn we have all of our oxygen. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately jump into the water as soon as I respawn. No. So that's a problem. Whew. Okay, I thought we had fixed everything, but I was wrong. We haven't fixed this bit. Strange. Okay. So when we drown, I did ask for start oxygen management. And whenever you start oxygen management, it stops it and then begins again, with oxygen percent becoming 1. What the heck? So while if not interacting, switch down to range state. If we are in water, I am a bit weirded out by this. What the? Because it should happen. You should get an oxygen percent here, being 1. And if we are presently jumping over water, as long as we're above 1, this one is oxygen loss duration. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. Oxygen percent goes to 0 here. I see what the problem is. Can you see what the problem is? I can see it. You can't because you're not paying any attention. Drown is happening before oxygen percent gets reset back to 0.
So you drown before the thing
That's an
happens.
issue. So cut
So
this.
we have to put this before.
Put it here. And I would do another save. I would do another thing here. I would say yield break. Break. It's a bit of a risk. But it shouldn't be a problem. I don't think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about something. Because it may take time to disappear. You saved, right?
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Don't know. You know, and then usually has started. So pay close attention to the icon. See if it disappears correctly. It disappears over time. The oxygen is correct, but it disappears over time, which I expected. That's the issue. So start oxygen material, blah blah. Do we have... This is false, right? Turn it to true. Save. So we're going to immediately hide the material completely. And then we're going to drown, and then we're going to yield break, which makes this particular piece of information pointless. Save again. Because drown is going to set it back to 1. We also interrupt this. Okay. Yield break means you quit the coroutine, basically. Well, actually, yield break should... I wonder. No, yield break should actually completely kill the coroutine. Yeah. Okay, control MO. I think we've saved already. Last test. So now it should be absolutely perfect, I think. Right? So you drown in the water. And then when you drown, you respawn, and the icon should instantaneously disappear. No lerping, no. So here I am. Right. As soon as my icon goes to 0, you should see that icon vanish, and we should be back in position. Let's turn off Gizmo so we can see just fine.
Yep.
Right, the icon's gone. The icon should come back.
And with
4. Okay. Last test is going to be
for quadrants.
checking.
You missed the important one.
I did apparently.
And got the bad one. Hey, how do you get hurt? Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
He's dead.
I'm not that interested in the other day, it doesn't matter.
I know. I haven't go to death yet.
Swim champion!
Died as soon as you got there.
Yeah, but I got right back with full energy. So that's pretty good. Everything is working exactly as intended. And that, my friends, will conclude our YouTube episode for this. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye.
Bye.